Ysbyty Dewi Sant, St David's Hospital over there behind those trees, and opposite the hospital is the house where Ivan and Bella was born on the 15th of January 1893, and then next door is my second home. My first home in Cardiff in late 69. I think we had the ground floor flat, and Mum didn't like it because there were rats everywhere and she was frightened to leave me unattended. I just noticed that Ivan's home has just been sold. That would be lovely to buy. There we are, 97 Cowbridge Road East. Onward. And here we have Cardiff Royal Infirmary, the CRI, which was finished in 1883. It used to have A&E emergency services until 1999 when that moved to the Heath Hospital. And I was born here, not actually there, but the West Wing, the annex, which was started to build in 1939 and was finished after the war, because obviously they put it on pause because of the war, used to be here, Cardiff West Wing, which was the CRI's maternity hospital, which catered for all of Cardiff. It is now student accommodation. Obviously that's not the original building, it's been rebuilt. But this is where I was born. Look at the state on that sign. This was Monkton House, Cardiff Grammar School, 18 to 20 The Parade in Roath, just outside the city centre. They've now converted it to flats, and of course as soon as you start converting anything to flats it goes downhill rapidly, so it is nowhere near its former glory, unfortunately, which is such a shame. Let's go and see if I can go around the back to what used to be the playground, recreation area, see what they've done. It's probably a car park now, isn't it? This is the university, Cardiff University buildings, which has slowly expanded over the years. That was there, of course, originally. This is all new, since the 80s at least. I'm going to have a look on the back. My old stomping ground. Oh my god, chemistry lab was there somewhere. So yeah, the physics lab was one of these. That was the physics lab, I think. That was the shed on the end where they used to have the hovercraft. We used to have Hovercraft Club, bizarrely. And that's where the hovercraft was kept, in that shed on the end. They've blocked the wall off here. I'm sure there was a way through, because this was chemistry. And there was an archway. Yes, I can see where they built it in, I think. Now, it looks like the shed where the hovercraft was kept is now converted flat. It's a bit small. So this is now where my old alma mater is based. Here, just a hop, skip and a jump from where it originally was. We're just going to walk past the gates, because I used to walk here about 2 or 3 times a week when I was doing my A-levels. So in October 1993 I started working for what was then South Glamorgan County Council, which subsequently split into Cardiff County Council and the Vale of Glamorgan County Council. Firstly at the Yorith Jones Resource Centre in Llanishen, and then Timawr in Roath, and then we moved here, 34 The Parade, in about 1996, 95. Now solicitors, prime real estate of course, yes. And that's where I started my social work journey, in this very building. I did an interview for a social work assistant, got the job, and then I was sent next door, which is part of the University of Wales Institute, Cardiff, then, and I did the certificate in welfare studies to get me into the swing of learning again, and as a stepping stone into the social work diploma. There we are, and here is now City Road. So in September 72, when I was 3 years old, I started going here, Gladstone Primary School, top of Gatay's Terrace. I can't believe my mother used to make this trip up and down the terrace 8 times a day. There and back in the morning, there and back for lunch, there and back at the end of lunch, and there and back at the end of the day, with my brother in his pram. I remember my first day when Mum dropped me off in the nursery. I started screaming the place down, and I was on the floor, and I grabbed hold of her leg and wouldn't let go. Very embarrassing for Mum, I'm sure. And then I remember having a strop all day and even when I was playing in the sandpit and having a strop. Didn't enjoy it at all. I soon settled in, of course. When I was born, I first moved to Laurel Avenue in Hawthorne, Pontypridd, which is where my father grew up. It was his parents' house, of course. We didn't stay there long because then we moved to the first flat in just off Cowbridge Road East, opposite St David's Hospital, which I showed you earlier. Our third home, and our first home we actually bought, was Minister Street, Cathays, number 19, straight ahead. I remember that street lamp right outside my bedroom window. And there it is. So it's 1971 to 1975. It looked so much bigger in those days. Let's take you down to Minister Street. My first ever memory, is riding a tricycle along this very pavement. Obviously then not dodging the rubbish bags, because it wasn't like that then. This is disgusting. Coming up to Cathays Railway Bridge, which takes us over into Cardiff's Victorian Civic Centre. Oh, Rydwyn hoffi coffee. And now we're going to walk through the Civic Centre. The building is part of the Welsh Government. So the Civic Centre is also known as Cathays Park, Cathays, where we just walked through when I grew up. And we're now going to turn into the park proper, where one of the greatest war memorials to the Great War, was erected. This was in 1928. It was unveiled by the then Prince of Wales, who then became King Edward VIII, and it's coming up here shortly. National Museum of Wales, Amgylch Cymru. I think we'll go in. This is one of the greatest collections of Impressionist art outside of Paris, probably London, and we're going to have a look at some of them. Let's go in. Out of the Amgylch Cymru, National Museum of Wales. La Parisienne, probably their greatest painting here by Renoir, is currently in the Musée d'Orsay in Paris. So I might have to go and see it in December when I'm there to see Paul McCartney. Paul McCartney and Renoir. From the sublime to the ridiculous, or from the sublime to the sublime. So I thought, well, if La Parisienne is not there, let's go and see the Pre-Raphaelites. No, that's closed for maintenance. There we are. So I think it was 1988, we had our exam certificates presentation here, Monkton House, Cardiff Grammar School, in City Hall. Cardiff Castle was originally a Norman fort, Motte Bailey, built on the remains of a Roman fort, 3rd century, the Motte Bailey being constructed in the 11th century, about 1091 I believe. And the walls, fortifications, were built from what was remaining of the Roman walls. So there's Roman bricks in that very wall. Here we are at Queen Street, Cardiff's main shopping thoroughfare, and right at the beginning we have a statue to the founder of the welfare state, Nye Bevan. And there he is, in all his glory. Not quite sure what he's pointing at, just the floor. There he is. He's usually got a traffic cone on his head, but not today. We have the south facade of Cardiff Castle. Much of the additions, like the clock tower, Some of the fortifications are from the 15th century up to the Victorian era, when the Marquis of Bute lived here occasionally when he wasn't on the Isle of Bute. Marquis of Bute making all his money from Cardiff docks, of course, which was then the busiest port in the world, exporting coal from the Rhondda valleys. When I was a child, I used to love the animals on the animal wall outside Cardiff Castle. There are 16 animals altogether, including the 2 lions there heralding the south gate. Let's walk along the wall and have a look at the rest of them. He's lost an ear.
Go, 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 go. Moved it, and then all of a sudden, here's me.
There we have it. Oh, there's a Pride crossing. There was Balchdy Cymru last week, Pride Cymru, 1 week ago. I know what, let's go for some fabulous Welsh cakes, shall we? Gorw. Welsh cakes. Now walking through one of Cardiff's famous Victorian arcades. Oh, Barker's Coffee House. I love Barker's. Lovely tea rooms and great cake. Out we come on St Mary Street. Welsh crafts. Castle walls. We're now crossing the River Taff from the town centre into the district of Canton, Cardiff. There's the Millennium Stadium, the River Taff. Nice sunny garden. Conservatory, which is going to have the roof changed, the glass roof, because one of the panes smashed. Ronald McDonald.
Hello, hello, hello.
Mrs. Morgan.